An exposed rotary blade with no guard, spinning at 3,000 revolutions per minute, capable of launching debris at 200 miles per hour. Operated a few inches from your feet with no training, no license, and no safety certification. Describe that to someone with no additional context and they'd assume you were describing a weapon. So why does every suburb in America let you buy one at a hardware store with no questions asked? Between 2010 and 2019, American emergency rooms treated over 800,000 lawnmower injuries. And despite decades of safety standards, that number never went down. Every Saturday morning, millions of Americans step onto their lawns to operate a machine that houses a raw steel blade rotating just inches from their bare ankles. We buy them at big box home improvement stores, load them into the back of SUVs, and hand the controls to teenagers without a second thought. No other household tool with this level of kinetic energy is treated with such casual familiarity. A chainsaw requires specialized safety gear. A vehicle demands a driver's license, but a rotary mower is treated as a benign appliance. This domestic normalization masks a stark physical reality. A standard 20-inch steel blade spinning on a central shaft behaves less like a garden tool and more like an unshielded centrifuge. The design has remained fundamentally unchanged for decades, preserving a direct, unmediated path between a high-velocity edge and human flesh. Despite a massive national footprint of severe trauma, there is still no license required, no certification mandatory, and no safety training culture to protect the operator. For generations, maintaining a suburban lawn did not carry this level of threat. The traditional hand-pushed reel mower relied on a series of curved blades rotating slowly, shearing grass like scissors. It was quiet, purely mechanical, and lacked an engine or fuel system. Because it operated without motorized force, that older design had no capacity to launch stones or hidden metal wire across a yard. The danger we live with today is entirely separate from the act of keeping a lawn tidy. It is the direct consequence of a deliberate design shift, replacing a harmless mechanical shear with high-velocity motorized impact. At a standard operating speed of 3,000 rotations per minute, the tip of a 20-inch mower blade travels at 19,000 feet per minute. This speed equates to roughly 215 miles per hour. The American National Standards Institute explicitly caps blade tip speed at this 19,000 threshold because debris ejection becomes lethal above that limit. When a heavy steel edge strikes loose gravel, rusted nails, wire fragments, or broken glass at over 200 miles per hour, these objects do not merely drift away. They are accelerated through the discharge chute as high-velocity missiles. This safety standard is a formal regulatory acknowledgement of a built-in hazard. It is a mathematical limit designed to keep a household appliance from operating as an unshielded weapon. The threat of a modern mower extends past direct blade contact. It is a high-speed discharge system built into routine yard work. Common ground cover becomes ammunition, and the standard itself proves that this hazard is known, measurable, and completely real. A warning. The forensic details that follow are highly graphic. In 2015, a 48-year-old woman was found unresponsive in her yard after operating a standard push mower. Rigor mortis had already set in. First responders initially saw no obvious cause of death until they discovered a tiny, easily missed puncture wound in her upper chest. The autopsy revealed a fragment of chain-link fence wire that had been struck by the blade. It had acted as a bullet, penetrating her chest, traversing her heart and left lung, and lodging in her chest wall. This ballistic mimicry routinely misleads investigators. In a separate case, authorities launched a full homicide investigation because the victim's chest wound appeared indistinguishable from a gunshot. Only the forensic recovery of a twisted steel wire near the mower deck corrected the record from murder to a household accident. The danger of these machines is most severe when they encounter children in their own yards. Lawnmowers are the leading cause of major limb loss for American children under the age of 10. Every day, a child is hospitalized in the United States for a mower-related injury, a trauma rate that has not declined in over 3 decades. In 2006, this national pattern materialized in Springfield, Oregon. A John Deere riding mower backed over 2.5-year-old Isabel Norton, amputating her left leg. During the subsequent civil trial, sworn testimony detailed the horror of the scene, describing how fragments of the toddler's flesh and bone were scattered across the grass. Isabel's injury is part of a clear, predictable pattern. 66% of all pediatric mower amputations happen when the machine is backing up. When a heavy riding mower is shifted into reverse, the operator's rear visibility is highly restricted, yet the blades continue to spin at full speed. This design allows a blind vehicle to move backward with unshielded, high-velocity steel blades running inches from the ground, transforming a routine backyard turn into a severe hazard. This mechanical risk is compounded by domestic habit. 73% of seriously injured child bystanders had previously been given recreational rides, reinforcing a tragic everyday familiarity with a lethal machine. The 2018 trial record revealed that John Deere had explored backover safety systems as early as the 1980s. One rejected option was a backup sensor that would have cost the company just $13.50 per unit. Other manufacturers took a different path. In 1982, MTD introduced riding mowers that automatically disabled the blades when shifted into reverse with no manual override. Over the next 20 years, MTD recorded 0 child backover accidents. An MTD executive later stated that protecting children was worth more than any lost sales from the minor inconvenience. Meanwhile, John Deere maintained its design, and its mowers ultimately accounted for 49% of all child backover amputations. This high percentage reflects a corporate priority that favored operator convenience over basic bystander protection, transforming an engineered hazard into a persistent pediatric emergency. Zero-turn riding mowers typically weigh between 500 and 1,500 pounds. Built with rear-wheel steering and a high center of gravity, these machines are unstable on slopes and uneven ground, yet they offer almost no rollover protection. The consequences are fatal. OSHA reported 35 worker deaths from mower rollovers between 2019 and 2022. Operating near water compounds the risk. In a 6-month window in 2016, more than a dozen operators were killed in rollover incidents, and 9 of them drowned. In October 2025, 78-year-old Doyce Wyndham died in Alabama after his zero-turn mower slid into a pond and pinned him underwater. A quieter threat progresses in near silence. Standard gas push mowers generate between 90 and 110 decibels, while riding models easily exceed 100 decibels. Federal safety guidelines state that permanent hearing damage begins after 2 hours of exposure to 90 decibels and just 15 minutes at 100 decibels. Yet, a typical suburban lawn takes 30 to 60 minutes to cut. Because inner ear hair cells never regenerate, this weekly chore permanently and progressively erodes hearing. It is a cumulative toll, existing alongside the physical trauma that continues to send 85,000 Americans to emergency rooms year after year. Every weekend we ignite devastating force to groom our yards, ignoring the daily gamble just outside our doors. The manicured suburban lawn remains a facade for a hazard we casually tolerate, but can no longer ignore. Subscribe for more deep dive investigations.